Good morning, my brothers and sisters globally. Thank you very much for joining. Morning motivational meeting, reading world scriptures. Now we came to the chapter. The work of creation require love and sacrifice. The spirit of the valley never dies. It is called the subtle and profound female, the gate of the subtle and the profound female. It is the root of heaven and earth. It is continuous and seems to be always existing. Use it, and if you will never and you will never wear it out. Tao the Chin 6 Taoism. At the first was neither being nor not being. There was not air nor yet sky beyond. What was is the wrapping? Where? It in whose protection? Was water there unfathomed and deep? There was no death, then not yet deathlessness. Of night or day there was not any sign. The one breath without breath by its own impulse, other than that was nothing else at all. Darkness was there, all wrapped around by darkness, and always water discriminate. Then that which was hidden by the void, that one emerging, steering through the power of ardor, tapas, came to be. In the beginning, love arose, which was the primal germ cell of the mind, the searching in the heart with wisdom, discovering the connection of being and non-being. A crosswise line cut being from non-being. What was described above it, what below. Beers of seed there were, and mighty forces thrust from below and forward move above. Read Veda 10:129 Hinduism. When with the Supreme Being as the offering, the God performing a sacrifice, spring was the molder, butter summer, the fuel, and the autumn the oblation. On the grass they besprinkled him, the sacrificed Supreme Being, the firstborn. With him the God sacrificed, and those sages and the sages. From the sacrifice fully offered was gathered mixed meal and butter, and the birds of the air arose, the forces, animals, and the domestic. From the sacrifice fully offered, the ring and the Saman Vedas were born. The Chandals Alharva Veda was born of that, and from that were born the Yagur Vedas. From that were born horses and animals with two rows of feet. Kine were born that, and of that were born the goat and the sheep. From his mind was born the moon, and from the eye the sun. From the mouth were Indra, Agni born, and Vayu, wind, was born from his breath. From his navel came the mid-air. From his head the sky was fashioned. From the feet the earth, and from the ear the quarters, and thus they formed the worlds. Rig Veda 10:96, 10, 13, 14. And now is teaching of second coming Messiah, Sun Moon. God established living for the sake of others at the basic principle of creation. What does this mean? Suppose we take a volume of air where pressure is evenly distributed and created a vacuum in one place. The more the air pressure in that area approaches a vacuum, the faster the high pressure air will rotate around in the area of low pressure. Do you understand what I mean? When God has invested himself over and over again in search of his object of love, he can simply remain in his place and everything will naturally come back to him. This is also the logical basis upon which God created all creatures in entire system. Which came first, life or love? Love came first. Although our planet Earth came into being from God's life, we do not hold that life came first. Rather, we declare that love is first. Why? Although God began the creation of heaven and earth with life, the source of life and the motive for life is love. The reason life came into being is because of love. Why did God create heaven and earth? Although He is the absolute being, God cannot feel joy as long as He is alone. Although He might sense it, He cannot experience its stimulation. This is why He created God may say, I am the absolute being, the master of love and master of life. Yet, as long as he remains solitary, he cannot feel love stimulation. He cannot feel the stimulation of life, the experience that all of heaven and earth are within him. When God created each thing, he invested energy is to deplete oneself. Though God is omniscient and almighty, if he were to give out all his energy with nothing returned to him, then God would be depleted. If you engage in strenuous labor rather than eating breakfast, you quickly become hungry and tired. Why? Investing energy is a negative for the subject partner. No one likes to suffer loss all the time. Enjoyment came when the, there is a positive return on the investment. God created all things in the heaven and earth for enjoyment, nor so that he could weep or be sorrowful. Hence, something must return to God as a positive benefit. Then, when does God receive the positive benefit? This is the measure of perfection in created beings. A being can be said to have reached perfection at the point when God begin to receive a return on his investment. Isn't this the case in business? We plan to invest a certain amount, experiencing that after a certain point we will begin to realize profit. Or when we study, we think that after putting in a certain number of hours, we will be adequately prepared to pass the exam. This is true with everything. It is a universal law. When we have a desire, if we work hard and challenge our limit to reach a goal, then we can cross the finish line and receive something in return. The same is true with God. What did he expect to gain by creating human beings? In creating them, he invested his energy and consuming something of himself. God spared everything positive for our sake. Yet there is no loss. Once we became perfect, there is a return. We should understand this basic rule. If 100 units were invested but the return was valued at less than 100 units, God would not have continued his work of creation. The return should be 110, 200, or 300 units, something valued more than the 100 units invested. Even better, the return should be unlimited. When this happens, God experienced joy even as he invested. Considering this, we conclude that the return should be something with a higher dimension of value. What form would it take? What when it returns give joy? The answer is love. If God has thought only of himself, would he have created heaven on earth? To create means to invest energy. The cherished desire of an artist is to create a masterpiece. To do this, the artist will invest all his heart and soul. He will want to reach the point where he cannot do anything more. Only by this investing himself completely can he created the perfect masterpiece. God created the universe first with absolute faith. Second, he created with absolute love, cherishing each creation as his beloved object mark. Third, God created with absolute obedience, which means that he totally emptied himself. God gave his total investment, forgetting what he had given and repeatedly giving still more. He gave up even any concept that something might gain of what he had given. After thus emptying himself, God reached the 0 point. Since he had invested all of his absolute faith, God reached the 0 point. Since he had invested all of himself with absolute love and total obedience to the principle of love, God reached the 0 point. Yes, so interesting, brothers and sisters, how God invested with love in creation. And now let's start reading my book, God's Global Trends, Curious God and Childhood Time. God made children curious. For me, one of the first experience with the Heavenly Parent was in my early childhood when he told me one of God's personal advice. God calls to not speak bad words. Don't swear ever. So I followed this advice, and starting from that time, it really released my conscience and life completely from this. From that time when we are kids, we start to ask many questions. Does we start the path of self-perfection as we grow? How better to deal in this situation? How better to do in that situation? Many times we get instant answers, but sometimes to get the right answer and we get it, this life lesson take us the whole life. These questions help us to develop for good. Therefore, never stop questioning, since correct answer when we get it, their life lesson. Ever after several mistakes we make and we learn that live life lesson lead us to perfection. Even by little steps we make great progress. In good situation or badly life situation, search for the right answer, since getting it and learning life lesson about not only lead us to the perfection, but also remain at best practice further to next generation. That is how was progressing humankind until now. Always listen to your internal voice. Test everything. Try many times for perfecting a best practice in life. Moreover, teach your kids about God to build their personal relationship with Him now from young age to not pray all your life for their mistakes after. Yes, brothers and sisters, this is the message for today. Was very nice to meet you, and please practice this. Please see how God's love work in your life. Uh, as what scriptures teach us that God invests 100% and thousand all His might to creating human beings, and He give us His love all day, 24 hours, non-stop. So let's feel it, and let's also um, question what is this, what is that, how to do it better in our life, and how we could practice it better and develop better. And as an investment, if we invest this, if we do this, what will do, and what we'll have in the end. And God will help us if we envision it and if we plan it the best what we want to do today, this week, and next year, and all remaining life for goodness and for love, because goal of the life is love. Yes, that's all for today, brother and sister. Please contact me to participate in this kind of morning meeting live. There is more interesting to do, and I wish you a great day today. Have a great blessed day. All the best. Make morning exercise. See you tomorrow.